Yes, hello. I am James Rowland. Today it's a WNR459. It's NXT Update, New Year's Evil. But I'm not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by our resident NXT expert and New Japan deity. It is, of course, Monty. How you doing, man?
I'm downgrading my godlike powers to just be an expert here for NXT. But definitely happy to be back. Like you said, first NXT review of the year. So let's get off on the right foot. Let's get through it.
Well, it's sort of saying, but it's funny when you think now that this is your kind of fourth year in the world of NXT Update, considering
veteran now.
Yeah, and like I said, after the highs of last week, Wrestle Kingdom show, we come to NXT. But like we said, we're not going to be too downtrodden because NXT Update is what we do. But we have got a couple other things we do as well, and Monty won't be with us for our Rumble live show at the end of the month.
No, I will not.
But very good reason you've given us, which I think we accept.
I hope so. I will physically be in San Antonio at the Royal Rumble. It's gonna be my first Rumble. I've been to Mania, so I'm slowly getting close. I'm gonna try to make a Survivor Series one day, maybe even a SummerSlam. I'm gonna knock down the big four first. But yeah, this is like you said, it's the biggest show I've been to in a while. It's kind of interesting, like you mentioned. I've been doing this now, going into my fourth year for NXT, and they're going into Visions Day, which is going to be the first time they do a takeover in like another arena that's not in Florida, right? So, it's kind of crazy when you think about how long me and you've been doing this, but it kind of stemmed from a time where fans weren't even in the arenas for any of this. So to come full circle and now to be able to be in a big show like that, and it's very unpredictable. I'm not really sure who's going to win either Rumble. Honestly, right now. So
I mean, and a lot of people at home. I mean, I don't interrupt, but like a lot of people at home are hating you right now, obviously because of Rumble.
That's a good point.
Not only
I'm making some people jealous.
Not only is it a bucket list for, like you said, every wrestling. Like,
everybody want to see a Rumble, right?
I talk. Fuck the Clash. Fuck Money in the Bank. Right? I would sacrifice if someone said to me tomorrow, give up the pod, we'll give you Rumble tickets. I'll see you there, Monty. Because and again, the year you're going, not to build it up so much already, but like I said, 2023 is going to be a big year in wrestling, and it's possibly, conceivably, with Triple H booking it, with Cody Rhodes that pop for Cody. When it's going to happen, Monty, and you're going to lose your shit about it. But like, it's going to be amazing. It could be the greatest Rumble of all time. This is going to be a massive disappointment when we review it.
It made me think about last year again.
Yeah, if Brock comes out, but like I said, it's great. And then again, what we can do, because of course you'll be with us with the review, and we can do all the fun stuff that I love doing as well. Is talking about prices and how much we shoot and
the lines.
Man. Because like I said, the American style of it. And also we of course covered WrestleMania, but like I said, Royal Rumble, man.
Try not to lose my voice this time.
You just enjoy. Do like I say, take loads of photos. That's what we want, just loads of content. And of course, we'll post it all on the WNR as well. And like I said, I'm excited for you. So I don't know how you can feel going into the Rumble, but you won't.
I'm even excited for the Pitch Black. I don't know what the hell is going to happen. I don't even know what it is, but
you're gonna be
screw it.
See what it's like. See what it's like live. You're just going to see people moving stuff. You'd be like, it was shit.
This is horrible. What the hell?
Just men in black suits, just like moving chairs. Like I said, it's going to be awesome. Like 2 Rumble matches as well. So, and of course, Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns. But we're going to talk more about Rumble as we get it. The reason I mentioned it is there's so much news happening at this moment in time that we're going to try and cover some now. Some of it, major, some of it not. And of course, you can be a helping hand. And
Okay.
big news stories is Monty. It's not just you and I that kill wrestling shows. It's just me, because one of my wrestling shows that I love, which is called New Japan Strong, is going to be rebuilt to focus on quality over quantity. Which again, I'm not sure what's going to happen. They've pings that they have, which are showing right now, will be the last ones, and then it will be rebuilt. So another 3 or 4 episodes of Strong before we see what happens. There's been lots of talk about Ring of Honor with their TV weekly deal. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm going to miss Strong. But again, I'm starting to lose so many different wrestling shows. Monty, do you know much about this? I mean, is it much of a surprise? Because again, is it just like NXT UK and I'm the only one watching it?
I mean, maybe, but honestly, it is a fan base for Strong. Even like I said, I tried to keep my eye on it, but like you said, we talk about this all the time in wrestling, man. It's just so much going on. I can't forgive anyone who's missing stuff like Strong, or even like Dark and Dark Elevation. I know people who love AEW so much they watch that too, and I'm just like, how do you find the time to watch that in NWA and all the other? So it's just when you have such a packed schedule, sometimes you don't get a chance to see everything. But it's still a kind of a shock, because I thought they were building a nice, not only a fan base for Strong, but just they were using what they were doing in New Japan Strong to set up a lot of their United States shows. But when I think about like Battle in the Valley and how they kind of built that in Japan, but still they're coming to the U.S. And then when I think about a lot of the faces that we've seen back in Japan, or some of the faces like Kevin Knight and some of these other people that we've seen debut in Japan, Coughlin, a lot of those great LA Dojo guys, a lot of those people came back to wrestle in Japan for over this last few, when the Wrestle Kingdom weekend. I know that's usually a time where they try to get everyone a chance to get some type of, work. But when you take into account all the debuts, maybe some of those guys are going to be coming over to Japan more often. But I still don't understand the, limiting how many New Japan Strong shows they're doing. So, like you said, maybe something to what you said. Maybe the numbers are not what they thought it would be, but I still thought they were doing really, really good work, and they built a lot of great talent. That's why I was looking forward to a lot of those LA Dojo guys to come to New Japan or to see what they would do next, because I knew that eventually that would be the case. And part of me wonders how much of Strong was meant to last anyway. Was this a product of the pandemic because they couldn't let a lot of, a lot of their foreigners come to Japan? That's another thing that it made me think about. So I don't really know, but it is sad to hear that, because like I said, I did see a lot of people who look forward to Strong every week.
Yeah, and Strong has been really good, like I said, with the talent. Even this past week, we had Jay White, on the show. Kent to become number one contender to Fred Rosser, which we'll see at Battle in the Valley.
I saw that.
And it'll be interesting to see kind of what they do, because the talent involved has been good. And again, if they do change it up, it'll be interesting to see kind of where they go. The only thing that was affected last year is because of the tapings of it. When they did have a pay-per-view, sometimes the champions weren't the champions or whatever it was. But it's the closest thing we get. I say we, as even trying to get into New Japan, you always get asked certain questions of what's the Raw and what's the SmackDown of New Japan. And there's not really an answer. And Strong was kind of the closest thing of being the weekly episodic show where, again, it could fill it out. But then again, Impact has been doing a great, because obviously on Access TV in America, they've got New Japan show on afterwards, which has actually even shown this week the Wrestle Kingdom highlights. So there's the kind of show ain't any way to keep the fans, invested in it. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, Strong's going to come to an end at some point, which of course will be sad news. And another massive bit of sad news that we had with 30th of December was the news that Don West, Impact announcer, passed away. He was diagnosed with brain lymphoma in 2021. And if anybody, when I say Don West, I can hear his voice in my head. Like Impact, TNA as it was, with Mike Tenay and Don West, did my favourite thing of any announcers that become a team but are cheering on what happens on the television,
Yeah.
together. And really, really sad to see. But Don West was such a huge part of kind of even growing up and watching TNA. He will be missed. Monty, what are your thoughts? Because like I said, this is horrible, horrible news.
Yeah, man, horrible news, and just like you said, he's one of those voices. It's kind of like when you think about classic WWE, you hear Jr., you hear some of his reactions. It's the same thing with him, with Don West, and in Impact, and like the X Division. I can just imagine. I can just remember some of the times something crazy would happen in like an Ultimate X match. You could just hear Don West screaming at the top of his lungs, or and like I even retweeted it when it happened. I was, I'll never forget when he turned heel on Mike Tenay. And just like it came so out of left field. I guess they were kind of planting the seeds before it, but the way he did it, the way it was executed, man, it was perfect. It always made me laugh the way he just kind of flipped on, Mike Tenay out of nowhere. So, anyway, it was Don West, like I said, one of those guys that I cannot think about that era, like you mentioned, the 2000s. I don't know exactly what year he kind of left commentary full time, but around, like I said, that a certain era of Impact, you cannot think about that time. Some of the glory days, really, when you think about what Impact was doing back then, the voice, like you said, one of those voices that you hear is Don West. So yeah, it was very, very unfortunate news. It's always unfortunate when we lose someone in the community, but yeah, like you said, someone I can remember in my childhood growing up hearing, and some of his iconic calls over the years. So it was really sad to hear that.
Yeah, without a shadow. Like you said, the enthusiasm and the passion, and always coming to work with a smile on his face. You could tell he was enjoying himself, and that is kind of what makes it even better. But he will be missed. Moving on to arrivals, and this might be more of a regular thing coming in 2023. We just don't know. But a former New Japan talent signed with WWE. Well, I say that we've seen him on Strong before. Carl Fredericks has signed with WWE. And he's going to report to the Venomable brand. We were speaking about this, I think, just a couple of months ago, but it has happened. 32-year-old has been a free agent since August, and he's going to try there. But then again, NXT, until it changes again, chance to have certain wrestlers come back and maybe have a bit of success. And Carl Fredericks, like I said, it might not be the biggest star going, but it's worth having a chance with NXT, depending on how long it goes,
Yeah. I always liked Carl Fredericks. He was actually one of those people that I was looking forward, another one of those guys looking forward to coming back to the States because, like you said, especially when they were trying to establish Strong, Carl Fredericks was a big part of what they were doing. And you can tell that they saw a lot in him because he's one of the first young lions in the LA dojo I seen graduated and ready to go. So, I think as far as the in-ring work when it comes to NXT, or the WWE style, I think he'll be fine. I think he'll probably be ahead of some people that we see already, down in NXT. But as far as like promos and what they may want him to do as a character, that's always questionable because it's always just sometimes it's very random, or sometimes we don't really know exactly where they want to go, or if he's capable of going where he needs to go or where they want him to go. So. Because New Japan, like I said, is always you have character work there, and you definitely have a goal that they want you to achieve. But we've talked about it all the time. It's way more free. You're way more just honest, being able to be who you are, who you want your character to be. Way less hands on. We know the WWE style can be very overproduced at times, even in this era now. So I'm really curious to see what they come up with when it comes to implementing him in NXT and in the WWE system going forward. But I do think he has potential. So we'll see how this turn out. But I'm always curious to see how these things, how do WWE look at these guys, when they bring certain people that we may hold to a certain standard or we appreciate. And like I said, I've seen that he had potential in New Japan. So I think he has a shot, but we'll just have to see how they decide to portray him going forward.
Yeah, and this is the thing with the things the way they are at the moment is the guy just maybe not had his biggest break yet, could experience something. And on the other end of the spectrum, if the rumours are true, and we're hearing that they are, and we talked about it on the Wrestle Kingdom show, the fact that Jay White now is expected to leave New Japan for the United States with his contract running out. Of course, he's Layu on February 11th, and the loser leaves Japan match. But again, this is big news, and a lot of people saying AEW, fuck it, WWE, and treat him like they treated AJ Styles. I've said it before, but Jay White has all the kind of tools necessary. He's only 30 years old, and looking me at his New Japan career and thinking he's done it all at a very early age, and what is left to accomplish, you know, it'd be better maybe to go away for a couple of years and then come back if he needs to, or am I just being a WWE mark?
Maybe a little bit, but no, I think it's fair enough. I think honestly that's the greatest argument for him leaving. He's literally done everything. I think they would be running it back, or they'll be probably doing something that we've kind of seen before. I mean, he could have certain feuds with certain guys. Maybe we could see him do that. Excuse my cat; he has something to say, obviously. But
down to Jay White.
But right, he don't want to talk about Jay White leaving, apparently. But yeah, so like I was saying, he has, like you said, Jay White has everything you need, and he's done everything that you can do pretty much in New Japan, like you said, at the age of 30. So it makes a lot of sense, in my opinion, if he was to leave and try, whether it was WWE or AEW. Part of me though really hates that this got out, because I mean I was pretty sure Jay White was gonna lose anyway, but I'm like, damn, like you dirt sheet guys, could you just wait? Like I think I already knew his contract was close to coming up. I don't need you confirming that he may be done. Like, at least let this match be a little dramatic for me. It's who knows what's going to happen, but sure, I think if this is true, we all can see how this is going to play out. But whether he goes to AEW is really, really interesting. He said he enjoyed his time, but AEW never offered, and that doesn't mean they won't offer it. Maybe they knew he was under contract and they just didn't think it was, what's the point of it? But so, we'll see how that turns out. But WWE is definitely interested in him. And he's another person that I guess I'm really curious about. Because again, he has it all. He has the tools, but will he be anything like the Jay White we know and love when they bring him into WWE? You're right. Book him like AJ Styles. I'm really hopeful that they can execute that. But I part of me is very worried that he will be a watered down version of Jay White, because you kind of have to be under the WWE umbrella. Yeah, so I'm curious about that. Right. He won't be able to do that. We know that much, right? So how is he creative enough, or are they creative enough to allow him to still be, as good as he is? Because I know, like you said, you watched him in Impact, as a matter of fact, so you know a little bit more of how he can do under different, censorship parameters and all of that. So, but I'm just saying, I know a lot of New Japan fans will definitely judge him compared to what he was doing over here, and that might not necessarily be fair.
Hey, there's no doubt he's a star. So my problem with AEW is that you don't need anybody else at this moment in time. If they're not going to judge a guy that deserves to be treated, like the man, no matter where he goes. I'm not going to say Impact, that's a pipe dream, but I've got all the money in the world, just be the face of the company. But like you say, it's interesting. But every fan will turn around on, even if Jay White does sign with WWE. If we get the moment with AJ, Finn Balor, and him facing off in the ring for like the first time, or under the WWE, you can just. But it'd be interesting to see. Like I said, wherever he goes, he's going to be successful. But unfortunately, we still got to talk about this. I'm not going to go into full detail about this subject matter because I'll annoy Jackson Jr. with it on the Rumble show. But Vince McMahon, and again, I don't want to tell everybody I told you so, but it will be over his cold, dead body that he gives control up.
I don't think anyone should be shocked, honestly.
No, like this is going to be. We'll look back in 5 years, and Triple H and Stephanie, 6 months, 8 months in control, whether it's going to be, was like, oh, do you remember when they did that? And it just went back to normal because I woke up to stories of WWE being sold to Saudi Arabian and Sami Zayn leaving, and all these other stories.
All the jokes.
Yeah, Stephanie,
the jokes were great.
Tony Khan buying AEW, buying WWE and calling it AEWWE and all this kind of shit. Vince, so anybody that doesn't know the story, Vince McMahon is now back in WWE, and apparently the main reason he is back is that he's going to sell the WWE. Apparently, sale is going to happen by mid-2023. Stephanie's walked away. There's stories about Nick Khan being the intermediate between that.
The buffer.
You know, it's like if Stephanie kept a relationship with Vince after Vince suggested her sleeping with Shane, and yet it comes to a point where they are not on speaking terms now, you kind of know there's a problem. Monty, what is this? Will Vince, when they sell the company, will he take back creative control? Are we just waiting for that moment? Or should we be more worried about WWE being sold anyway? You know, like what's going on? Because I know you followed the story.
It depends.
A long time ago.
Yeah, I definitely followed the story, but even like I said on the show, I was more just like, it's a lot of boardroom stuff, and I'm not going to pretend to know anything about how their business can be really, really dirty. So, and it can be really confusing when you have no clue what the hell going on. So, I didn't even pretend to try to act like I can predict how this would turn out. But like you said, it's insane. I think I always kind of knew that he wouldn't go out, he wouldn't just stay away. But I probably didn't think, he would come back, replace other shareholders. He would, like you said, Stephanie would have to walk away from her position. We'll get more insight into the fact that their relationship seemed to be crumbling. Like, it's a lot of things that I probably wasn't really expecting to hear. And but seeing Vince in this position, I think they even mentioned it before SmackDown, the most recent SmackDown. Triple H had a meeting with the crew and basically said that Vince probably will have, they will discuss things creatively, but Triple H has the final say. And my only thing when I hear that is like, well, how long will you have the final say? Like, even if that's true, and could they be saying Triple H has the final say just to do damage control, and publicly Triple H is it's just the booker, but Vince is secretly still doing the thing. Like, who can stop it if he's still the majority, doing this and doing that? And then, like, once he sell it, now it's like, who's he going to sell it to? So you're right. Depending on who it goes to, who knows what the future of WWE is. But it also exciting prospects, because I've seen a lot of people, saying how great it would be if Disney took it over. Even though I'm assuming if a big company like Disney were to buy it, they would probably, like you mentioned, delegate it to people who ran it before, which is most likely who? Vince. Yeah. Probably. That's just what I'm thinking. So it's like, it's really, really tough to know where the hell this is going. But it's interesting times, to say the least, man. I know that. I know one thing. I never thought that this company would not be, or possibly not have anything to do. Like, would you ever think that this company would possibly not have anything to do with the McMahon going forward? No, that could possibly happen. Yeah. They could sell, and Vince could just take his money and leave.
Yeah.
And now no one, Shane, Steph, no one has anything to do with it.
But like, then it turns into again, show my age a little bit, but like a WCW problem, because then you've got people that might not like wrestling and people that don't know wrestling.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get certain wrestlers or bookers in to do it, and they're going to book themselves to be champions because that's what they do. The history of wrestling going back from that, and especially if WWE are made, private again, then they've got carte blanche to do basically anything they want. And like I said, 2023 is shaping up to be even bigger than 2022 at this moment in time if WWE is sold, because like I said, that is something that people. It always McMahon after McMahon going back, decades and decades, and it will change the wrestling industry as we know it, without a shadow of a doubt. But it's crazy to think that the news that we're going to have to cover. The other thing we do as well, of course, on NXT Pods is catching up with the latest on the WWE Network. Just a couple of table for threes. I'm just going to go through them quickly, Monty. Don't worry about that. We've got New Generation Gathering, which is Jerry the King Lawler, Bret Hart, and Kane. This was fun because now we're coming to a point where you can actually talk about shit gimmicks and get some. I don't know if Glenn Jacobs / Kane has ever talked about Isaac Yankem either on a WWE programming, but that's what we're going to get. Kane start in Memphis as a masked Russian, so the mask was always there for Kane. That's what we get. And then he was the Christmas creature. But let's not forget about Jerry's and Bret's feud, which was brilliant, whether people liked it or not, if they thought it was comedy or not. I always remember hearing about the King crowning Bret at King of the Ring 93. Of course, Jerry loved being a heel and ripping on the Hart family. Of course, his favourite targets were Stu and Helen. It's quite nice to know even Bret, who doesn't say it, did say that his parents always laughed when the King would start being horrible to him, which is good. Kiss My Foot match, which you don't get anymore, maybe why, but Bret saying Jerry was a perfect villain,
Thank goodness.
And of course Isaac Yankem coming along in his match with Bret at SummerSlam 95. Really nice watch, but Bret did enjoy his meal. I think that's the biggest takeaway. I think Bret just got taken to a room, sat down, and just ate his meal like that. That's
hey man, it's free.
Hey,
don't blame him.
No. Fine. And the other table the other table for free was SmackDown Legends, which is Booker T, JBL, and Rey Mysterio. Booker, do you know what? The older I get as well, I used to think Booker just talked nonsense, but it's genius inside nonsense. He said wrestling is the art of doing nothing, and when you think about that, it actually does make sense. Trying to make Undertaker do a spin-a-rooney was probably one of the funniest bits here. And JBL and Booker started in Texas together and worked in Japan as a tag team, which I didn't know, actually, to be fair.
Wow.
A lot of talk about young talent needing to learn. A little bit of a dig. Booker moved into WWE and had WCW hopes on his shoulders. We know how that went. Funny story from JBL, talk about young kids trying something. Scotty Too Hotty, the first time using a worm, and Ron Simmons says, "You ain't fucking doing that," and beating him up. Which, again, Ron Simmons, what a legend. JBL talks about having Vader's last WWE match and picking Rey Mysterio as his last opponent. And of course, Booker is annoyed that he's known for beating up in a grocery store rather than anything else in his entire career. But again, good stuff.
Right. Also, by the way, I want to say that episode is another one of those things I can cherish because, not to show my youth here, but that was like that's my era right there, SmackDown. JBL and the Booker T, that 2004 to 7 to 8 era, but really 2002 is probably when you could be started off. But yeah, anyway, besides that, enough of my 2000s.
No, like you said, the SmackDown 6 started.
Like that era, man.
Yeah, man.
Whew.
He should not be named.
Because like at the time, I really did not like Raw as much. Like Raw had certain things, but it was just so much evolution, so much, it kind of got, bad there for a while. But SmackDown was so refreshing during the time. Yeah.
Well, this was said that he had Heyman in control, and he said, "Fuck you, I'm going to beat Raw," and he did, And then they were like, "Hang on a minute." Of course, Peacock has the Ric Flair documentary in America, but they hate us in the UK. So we are not available on the network, so fuck them. That's what I'm going to say. So, on to NXT. 5 episodes of NXT. December 13th, we're going to start with a recap of Deadline. Fucking hell, is that long ago? A happier Booker T with Vic Joseph. We see Grayson Waller interrupting Roxanne Perez, who wanted to open the show. Bron Breakker arrived to run off Waller before Mandy Rose struck a challenger with the Women's Championship President Challenger to put the title on the line later tonight. We had Wesley beating Stan Renzo. Dijak stood on the apron as Tony D planted the North American Champion with a clothesline to the back of the head. Toxic Attraction versus Ivan Tate Paxley, with Katana Chance and Caden Carter getting involved, causing a disqualification. Odyssey Jones beat Von fucking Wagner. And now I think of it, have we seen Von Wagner since this moment?
No, disappeared.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Wow.
Maybe it'll persist.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, Big Body Harvey trying to figure out the name of his fan base with Mackenzie Mitchell, who's not interested. He lost to Ikemen Jiro. Scripps attacked Jiro afterwards. We saw Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods celebrating a history-making night at Deadline. Booker was still pissed, but he said he had 16 reigns. So 16. He was saying, I have 16. Woods said he had the first NXT match, and it was against Big E. How fucking cool is that statistic?
Wow.
You know,
right? What a throwback.
No Boy, Pretty Deadly walked out wearing tassels and sparkly pants. Yes, boy. And they demanded a rematch. The New Day said they would get a shot if the British team, if they recited the Pledge of Allegiance. I didn't know it either. I'm not going to lie, Monty. Briggs and Jensen ran out with the US flag and said the earn a title shot
literally
instead.
Programmed in this, man. It's like they programmed us as kids. We had to say it every day growing up. Oh my goodness. Anyway, sorry.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm basically pointing out that they didn't have a chance.
No, USA.
Like,
that's what they do. But Monty, how the fuck did you know that was going to be Briggs and Jensen next in line? Like, how?
Come on now.
Well, still, I fucking hate them. So I didn't. But did you know Sergeant Slaughter became a babyface for a promo just like that? Eh? But you look back in the archives, back in the day.
Only here. Yeah. Only in America.
USA. We see Lash Legend spotted. Good. JD versus Brutus, and Creed started strong against JD, but the Necessary Evil found his opening to wear down his opponent. We see Indusher stopping him from using a steel chair, and McDonald won in the ring with the inside. Iofi made her NXT debut as Lyra Valkyrie. I don't know why they changed the name. And Maria Miller challenged her early, but she could not keep the pace of the North Angel. I can't wait until she starts doing the feather gimmick. You know what I'm saying? That's when we know it's going to get going.
Right?
Yeah.
I knew something was missing, right? You know, it's like she seemed kind of like not... It seemed something was different. That's what I'll say about it. I was like, wow, that's a great call. The feathers. Yeah, you're right. She's nowhere near as... mystical as she was at the time in NXT UK so far. But it was, she looked great though. When you think about how, the injury that she had, she looked like she's been doing, should be fine. So we'll see how this turn out though.
Right, now, another sighting of Damon Kemp. He lost to Duke Hudson. Chase caught Gulak recruiting Hudson, but Hudson made it clear to Chase and Thea Hale that he would still chase you after the professor apologised to him. Gulak was sent to the back by Chase when he tried to watch it closely. Seeing Gulak and Chase together does prove it's not another Elias and Ezekiel situation. Because you're never sure. Again, I don't want to be racist, but short hair and a goatee, come on. And then the main event, NXT Women's Championship, Mandy Rose versus Roxanne Perez. Rose had complete control through much of, but of course Perez stayed in the fight. Finally, she planted the NXT Women's Champ with Pop Rocks to take the win and the title. Yes, Rose's reign ended at 413 days, just 3 days short of Baszler's NXT record. And we saw real emotion here. And crazily, Rock started the year as Ring of Honor Women's Champion and finished it as NXT Women's Champion. It was a shock, without a doubt, until the news the next day anyway. But what did you think of the main event? Because Roxanne, we knew she was the next one, didn't we?
Yeah, we knew it was the next one. I literally, I remember when I first watched it live because I was flipping through channels or whatever, And I looked on social media and I saw, oh, okay, so they're doing the title match tonight. So I went and just caught the actual match of the title match that night, and it was like you said, it was really, really a shock that they pulled the trigger when they did. Like we said, now in hindsight, we know that it may not be as shocking now, but at the time, like you said, the reign, all the hard work that Mandy had did, we were all kind of. I mean, when someone's a champion for over 400 days, you are going to be kind of programmed to think at the end of the day they're going to find a way for Mandy to get out of this or to survive or retain. So it was still, kind of a shock when she pulled it off, but I wasn't disappointed. Like you said, we kind of seen we seen it a while ago with Roxy that she was the one who probably was best suited to take over in this role. She looks like a champion. She works like a champion. I don't think anyone can doubt that she deserved that moment. So I think it worked from that point of view, even if it was shocking to see Mandy lose. But I must say that the night it happened, I was really, really happy because I did not want her to come any closer to Oscar's reign. Selfishly, I was protecting Oscar and now Shayna. But hey, Mandy Rose, like I said, I will give her all the credit for being for someone that, like you mentioned, when she won that title, we kind of just shrugged it off as okay, whatever. We'll see what happens. And then to think about how great, or at least how much better she became over those 400 days. Yeah, no, I definitely give her props for her reign. But it was a great moment for Roxanne and well deserved.
Yeah, and this is a shame as well in a weird way because obviously next day Mandy Rose was released, which you spoke about on the pod before, because she posted explicit photos and videos. She's 32 years old and she made over $1 million on that account as well. And like I said, Oscar's reign was 522. So we still had a little way to go, but you never knew.
Right.
But it's
never knew, man.
We can't look back now and go, do you know what? I actually put respect on her name. She actually turned into quite a good performer.
Right.
Toxic Attraction,
exactly.
for how bad 2.0 was one of the reasons why it's worthwhile, And like I said, in the matches that she's had, especially, with Miko and Blair Davenport, showed the level she had got to. But again, it's WWE saying, well, we haven't got a choice. And Mandy Rose, again, at that age, where she showed fixed, maybe she won't have a reign as much as that, but she still can be success in her career,
Definitely. I wish her nothing but the best. She'll be fine. Honestly, you make $1 million like she's doing it, I probably wouldn't take a bump again with my life. If it's like that, I don't know if I ever take a bump again. But yeah, man, I think, like you said, I just got to give her props. Like you said, really improved. And she was the women's division for most of our reviews for the last year or so. Yep. Mandy Rose was the women's division on 2.0 in NXT. So hats off.
Exactly. Put some respect on her name. So we'll move on to December 20th, and we start with some good old-fashioned wrestling when Axiom battled Carmella Hayes. Trick Williams tripped the superhero, who was rolling, setting up Carmella Hayes for a double knee facebuster and the diving axe kick to win. But this was really smooth to start the show.
Yeah, man. I'd love seeing him right there in that slot too to kick it off. Like it's like we know Melo can get people, newcomers who may just be flicking the channels or whatever. We know a match like this, we let Melo, Axiom get in there. We let them do what they do best, and that will be enough to kind of maybe keep people watching if they're just stumbled across this, or if you're just tuning in to NXT this week to see what's going on. It's like it's a good match to kick things off, and they kind of, as you'll see, even I think the next week or so, or the week after this, they kind of use Melo in a similar fashion there again. But I must say, I am really impressed. As much as I ragged on the name and I thought the numbers promos and all of that was kind of nonsensical when he debuted, I must say, I am really impressed with the way they presented A-Kid or Axiom. And allowing him to be who he is in the ring, even though they, they stifled him with something that I thought was probably going to limit him. He stepped up to the plate, and every time they put him in the ring, he shows what me and you already kind of knew about him. from watching him in NXT UK. So I do want to kind of give that a shout because he really was in this match and the crowd was in it with him. The finish kind of, I will say I've seen that finish a couple of times when it comes to Trick, but I'm really like part of me. I don't even think I want Melo and Trick to ever break up. I'm that used to them coming and just being, a tandem together and working together so well. They play off each other so well that I really appreciate them together. But yeah, man, this was great stuff, like you said, to kick off the show.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point about Axiom as well, especially coming off Deadline, where he had the most surprising performance out of them as well.
Right.
And another thing that hopefully we get to mention is, I don't think we have, but even his jokes about, or you can see what I feel like. Face.
I love it. It's like making jokes about how, because that mask really don't make sense. Like, how does he see anything with the mesh covering? But yeah, I love it. I love it.
Well, we get Zoe Stark versus Nikita Lyons, perverts, next. Zoe Stark tried every trick in the book to win and landed as she rolled up Nikita Lyons and grabbed the ropes for free. There's one thing that I just know, this is not over.
Right, I agree. That's the only thing that's promised after that. Yeah, we'll be seeing this again.
Wendy Chu attacked Cora Jade during her interview, and then we had the NXT Women's Tag Titles, Chance and Carter versus Toxic Don't Say Mandy Rose Attraction versus Diamond Mine. Gaiden Carter reversed Ivory Niles, dragging Sleeper into a pin for free, while Chance stopped Tatum from breaking it up. It was good stuff, but the only problem is, these are the only 3 teams in NXT.
Thank you. I didn't want to point it out because they worked hard, but it's pretty much your whole division right here. So, what's next for the tag?
No, it's interesting. It's just going to sit there going, do.
Twiddle the thumbs.
Yeah, wait for another team to form. Booker T sat down with Perez, who explained she always bet on herself to succeed without fail. Apollo Crews put over Perez's championship win. He did. He turned to the NXT Championship, only to be upset by Carmelo Hayes. I could hear Monty cheering from a distance, who wants the next shot. The two agreed a future match with no date set, but Cruz is there to put them over. That's whoever comes out, I'm going to put them over in a couple of weeks. Who is it?
That's exactly what this. That's a great way to put that entire segment in like the easiest way possible. He's like, "Who's next?" So you can, just beat me, so you can fight Braun.
Yeah. Well, Pretty Deadly, yes, boy, try to convince New Day to give him a title shot, but the champions continue to give them impossible tasks before that rematch.
Impossible.
Well, like getting Niles' suit. Even I was like, that's a good pull. But
that's a great one.
Yeah.
The Rock's eyebrow.
That's just good stuff. Good stuff all round. Elektra Lopez beat Indy Hartwell. Both women shouldn't be here. Make that what you want.
Simple as that.
Simple. Isla Dawn missed it Alba Fire before a match, and it took about, 15 minutes for the trainers to clear her. When Fire got to the ring, Dawn blasted her right hand on the steel steps with Fire's own bat. Well, that will learn her. And then Hank Walker went to Drew Gulak for advice, and Gulak offered him a chance to attend his cinema next week. Seminar, not cinema.
Cinema.
Seminar. Cinema. That's with an English accent. That's quite difficult. The NXT Tag Team Championships are on the line. New Day versus Briggs and Jensen. And they came to work against the New Day. However, Kofi caught Briggs with trouble in paradise to set up the rope walk elbow drop for Xavier Woods to retain. I hate to say it, but this was quite good.
This was so good that I really was confused. I was like, does this mean I've been underrating Briggs and Jensen, or is it just because the New Day can damn near do no wrong when it comes to this? Like, is it because of how great the New Day is? But no, you have to give some support, like you said, because they really came. You can tell they knew this was a big deal for them as a team, because that's the energy that they brought in this match. Everything looked, like it was on time. They were not half stepping. So I really have to, like you said, surprisingly, they were believe it or not, these are former NXT UK tag champions. So, this is by far the best they ever looked. And I'm not going to give it all to the New Day, even though we know how great they
we've
are.
liked him for a long time. We have.
Right. Exactly. I could have just used this entire time to talk about just how much we love the New Day. That's how much we love them. But I want to give them props. This is the best that they ever looked. So hopefully they can build off that and, keep that type of, energy up.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, we saw Grayson Waller then demand Bron Breakker give him his NXT Championship match, but the NXT champ did not answer. The challenger mocked the champion until Breakker arrived. Breakker speared Waller, only to meet a steel plate concede in Waller's jacket. Waller ended the night standing tall over his unconscious opponent, promising to win at New Year's Evil. Look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it. Exactly. You can take from WCW the best of WCW. See, a lot of people take some of the worst ideas from WCW and try to make you take War Games, you take stuff like this segment from WCW. Don't do NWO Black and White versus NWO Red for like 32 weeks on your television. You don't have to do stuff like that. Take from this part because, like you said, one of the greatest moments in WCW history, and it ended up being a really, really nice moment. Now, it was definitely, especially when you saw how Braun didn't really sell it the greatest to me because after he safely gets him to the ground, then that's when he decides to, okay, I'm unconscious.
It was delayed reaction, delayed.
Yeah. He couldn't go limp like he was supposed to when he was supposed to. He didn't go limp until he got to the mat. So it was funny. It was kind of funny, but it was great. Great reveal, and Waller is the perfect guy to do something like that. Not as great as the original. It's hard to top the original, but it was still an awesome moment because it's been a while. Sometimes you need those callbacks to the classics.
Well, and again, Waller showing his intelligence, like ever since Deadline, attacking Braun, getting to his head, showing him like, you're a big bad man who's trying to plow through me, and if you do, I'll make sure you make a mistake. Which again, for Grayson Waller, it's incredible. So fair play for that segment. We'll move on to December 27th, which was the last NXT of the year, which was pre-taped, and Julius Creed excised one of his past demons by overcoming JD McDonough in the opening match. And then we saw Indusher agree to a match at New Year's Evil. I hope JD bounces back from this because you and I were talking about him thinking he was maybe next in line or future champ. And he's had a few losses recently. But again, it's one of these things where talent does disappear for a little while. And we think, we haven't seen him in the past 4 weeks.
Right. It's definitely one of those things, so we have to. I was definitely kind of shocked that they didn't kind of protect him here because he kind of lost, decisively, if you ask me, the way he lost. So that was another thing. But, I don't know. I think maybe they've shown just how good or how dangerous he is. So they feel like, as long as we can just tap back into him hurting someone in a couple weeks or something like that, then he'll be fine. So maybe that's their thought process, that it'll help Julius more than it'll hurt JD.
Or will be released. We just don't know.
Exactly. Or I'm wrong and they're just going to fire him.
Remember when that happened to us like a year and a half ago and we were just losing talent every week? Just like, I really like Swerve. Definitely. I really like Bronson Reed. I really like 2.0. Just everything.
Yeah, this kid has a bright future, but might not be here.
Fucking hell. We get Cora Jade versus Wendy Chu. Cora Jade talked too much trash and let Wendy Chu pick up a big win with full Nelson Slam and a Vader bomb. We saw Scripps beat Ika Minjiro. In a second NXT match, Laura Valkyrie had some trouble working with Legend, but who doesn't? She won, but the bigger surprise is Legend still has a job. I think would be fair to say.
Bro, it's so bad that I hate I told you I don't like the audience for NXT, the typical audience. But I literally heard someone say Lash is trash and try to get that chant going. That's how bad it is right now. I know she's a heel, but Lash is trash? Come on, man. That's not good, Jane. That's all I'm saying.
No, but she's still got a job. So, like we say, we look on the positives.
No, hey, you can't teach that. What Big Bill? What used to be the catchphrase for Big Bill? She's 6 foot tall, man. You can't teach that.
And you can't teach that. Bada boom, realest guy in the room. How you doing?
What a reference.
Oh, my God. The Schism versus Edgersonoffy, Mallet Blade, and Odyssey Jones. We saw Joe Gacy and Rick Fella. They held up Edgersonoffy and Mallet Blade for a double Doomsday device, followed by Parton and Onoffé with a ticket to Mayhem into the Upside Down for the win. The Schism can't be working, surely. Like, this was a well put together match.
Right.
What is wrong?
Yeah, like, it's crazy to me. Like, I was literally I was talking to this with my fiance, who really don't watch NXT, so I know she was lost. But I was like, the crowd, no one gave a damn about Schism when it was just Joe and the two grizzled young vets just talking nonsense every week. But then when Simone pops up, or like when Ava Raine pops up, oh man, now it's 4 roots, 1 tree. Everyone's throwing up twos in there. It's really interesting how much more interesting they became.
Yeah,
when Ava showed up.
It's
crazy to me. But I must say, this match does remind you, right? Damn, those grizzled young vets, man, they still so good.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so good.
It's just a shame we can't get Zach Gibson to come out and hit the promo that he used to do. You know, where he talks about soon to be. I can't do a Scouse accent, but grizzled young vets. I can't wait for that moment, or he'll be released. We move on for the battle for the bar. Not Sheamus and Cesaro. No, Kiana James losing to Fallon Henry. Drew Gulak.
Which is stupid, by the way, in itself. Who wrestles for something like that?
Fucking Vic going, she won the bar! She won the bar! Who gives a fuck, Vic? I know you're trying, son.
No. Vic also was like, she was this is where she lost her tooth. And Booker T had the greatest line. What the hell was she doing in the bar at 2 years old to lose her tooth? That's a great question.
That is actually, yeah. Bar used to babysit her. She got more memories of the bar than her family, which is fine. Photo albums are just pictures of the bar. That's my favourite chair, my table. Then we had Drew Gulak hosting In-Ring Invitational, where he made each man submit. Walker was going to be, no, you're not taking part. You're just participating. I said, no, just stand there. Stand and watch.
Stand over there.
Just don't. He held the submission on for Miles Bourne a bit too much, and Hank Walker had to tell him to let up. Charlie Dempsey crashed the Invitational and challenged to Walker to a match next week. We then get NXT North American Championship Wesley versus Tony D. Tony D got 2 focus in this match on hurting Wesley. This allowed a timely distraction from Dijak attacking Channing Stacks Lorenzo, which set up the champion to hit his handspring kick for the win. What do you think of this? Because I want to talk about Tony D after the next match as well. But like, he's just and Wesley, like the North American title reign should be exciting, but again. Is it just because Carmelo's not involved?
Yeah, I was just about to say, I've been programmed to a certain quality when it comes to Melo and the way his title matches were portrayed, the way they felt. This felt more on the lines. And I hate to say this, but think about it. It kind of happened to Cameron Grimes when he won it from Melo, too, of where it was kind of like, it felt like a significant drop off in importance, or at least that vibe about it just didn't. It just didn't seem to matter the same. Not to any fault to me, to Cameron. I didn't think Cameron did anything inherently wrong. Same thing right now with Wesley. Even though I didn't mind this match, that's a great. The way you kind of describe Tony D is a great way to put him. It's like I don't think he's bad, but at the same time, he doesn't really stick out to me as nothing he does really makes me feel like, oh my goodness, that's special. But I thought maybe I should just give it a little bit more time, even though he's been around for I don't know, been around a while now. Yeah. So, you would think he would make more of an impression when it comes to being in the ring. But I will give him a break when it comes to the way this match finished, because it's not very often you just see your friend just get abducted.
It's stacks. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm gonna get onto this.
That's fair
New Year's
though.
Evil.
That's fair
like,
though. Like,
fuck
yeah,
him. Like, you fight for a championship. Like, come
that's
on.
fair. I don't know why they insisted on trying to get us into this bond that they have. That's a great point.
Oh, mate. I was just, whoa. Anyway, January 3rd, the first NXT of the year, and we start off with the way NXT should start off every week. Carmelo Hayes,
Right.
this time taking on Apollo Crews. We see Hayes attacking the knee of Crews to set up the finish. Crews missing a standing moonsault and landed on the knee. The A champion caught with a double knee face buster and a diving axe kick to win. Good stuff. And Crews, like we said, they're putting Hayes, but Hayes slowly getting closer and closer to what we want him to get.
Right. You can just see it. I think that's the best part about this is that it's all logical, storytelling and booking when it comes to, like you said, his eventual ride into the number one contender spot. And, I just think, like you said, it's something about like when Melo and these type of matches happen. Like I said, you're always interested in those matches because they just feel important. And like you said, I'm really interested into every route that he takes to get to Braun Breaker, because like that is the end goal, I think, for anyone who's been watching NXT over the last year and a half, maybe. Braun Breaker versus Carmelo Hayes, Stand and Deliver, is the match to make. And I think, like you said, this step over Apollo is definitely the logical step to get us there after Vengeance Day. But I also want to give a big shout out to Apollo Crews for being in this spot, because again, once you're not going to be the one to beat Braun Breaker, to help out somebody like Melo, to be in that spot, to put him over, to make him look great, I always got to give a shout out to him, because again, the way NXT is set up now with the veterans that we have coming back, it's just awesome to see a lot of those people not only try to work out. I don't think this is all about Apollo figuring out how to his next main roster run. I think if you're coming to NXT to work like him in the New Day, or I've been doing, you're also coming to help out the talent. I didn't mention that when we were talking about Briggs and Jensen, but that's another great thing that you can see. It's an emphasis on making these experienced guys get work in there with the up and coming guys, and I love that.
Yeah, we're actually out of a doubt. After Melo's win over Crews, Axiom attacked Melo and Trick, then Axiom beat Trick, and Melo and Trick attack Axiom until Crews made the save. So I think we know where that's coming up. Dijak beat Stax. Afterwards, the big man tried to hurt Stax more, but Tony D sent him running and challenged him to a match at New Year's Evil. Wesley agreed later in an interview to give the winner of Dijak versus Janjo the next shot at the NXT North American Championship. We then see Gigi Dolan and JC Jane declare 2023 as Toxic Attractions year, claiming a shot at the NXT Women's Championship. Indy Hartwell, Cora Jade, Nikita Lyon, perverts. Wendy Chu, Zoe Stark all interrupted. For Thea Hale, call for a brawl. Roxanne Perez appeared on the stage to announce a 20-woman battle royal that would crown her first challenger at NXT Vengeance Day. Fire nearly got in the action during the brawl, but Dawn attacked her, leading to a fight in a parking lot and a backstage area. And to be fair, that was the best part of the entire segment. And then we had Extreme Resolution, Alba Fire versus Isla Dawn. Physical brawl with Dawn, sit to smile and accept her fate as Alba Fire embraced her anger and put her opponent away with a senton bomb and a gory bomb through a table outside. Monty, no surprise, but I really like this. They beat the crap out of each other,
Right.
And this is a match we should have had at Deadline.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. This is perfect. It fit what they, the feud perfectly, because we know, like I said, since what happened to her in her title match, Alba Fire has been on a rampage when it comes to getting to Isla Dawn, and she getting her revenge in this match. I really liked the way everything played out. It was a fun brawl where I thought both ladies, got some great shots in, and the ending with Isla Dawn kind of showing just how insane she is, basically laying there and taking the Swanton bomb or whatever just for the hell of it. and then you get the guard brum so you can go through the table. And then the way Alba looked at her after the match, it really gave me vibes that maybe I wasn't too far off when I was predicting something of a rivalry into a team type of thing. Not that I thought that it would happen, but I was just kind of like fantasy booking that I guess it would be kind of cool to see them together. But we were just talking about Casey and Kaden not really having anyone to fight. So it would be an interesting thing. And going forward, I think after being that close to Isla and going through that experience with her, maybe we'll start seeing a change in her character. I think they're kind of already starting to kind of tease that a little bit. But we'll see going forward. Maybe I'm just off, and maybe this will just turn into an even deeper of a blood feud, or maybe it's completely over and they don't have anything to do with each other at all after this. I wouldn't mind it kind of either way, because this, like you said, was a great cap-off, great way for Alba to just get her revenge. And this is a great match that, I don't know how much they may have touched when she was Kaylee Ray in NXT, but I would like to say that this is like, one of the best matches I've kind of seen them two have. So this is great.
Yeah, like I said, NXT UK at its best. But you make an excellent point with Dawn and Via, where we actually mentioned a bar earlier, and the reason why Sheamus and Cesaro got together because they kept fighting each other. A bit like Sheamus and Drew now, really.
And Drew, exactly.
Yeah, so that could work. And we've also know there's only 3 other tag teams in the entire divisions.
Right. And then with her witchcraft, like, it just makes more sense to be kind of like, maybe she's controlling Alba, or maybe it doesn't, who knows what kind of, they can go all types of ways with it. So that's the thing that I like about it. It's kind of interesting. Yeah. Maybe the point that they're at right now.
And again, easy way to get gold, because if those two do team together, you would think they'd be the favourite in a match, especially when Chance reigning women's tag team champions in history, which I think the record was 6 days. So,
absolutely.
So no, I'm not sure. But anyway, we'll move on. Big Body Harvey lost to Aura Mensa. What the fuck did they do with Aura Mensa?
They turned him into the African Caden and Katana. That's pretty much it. He's just the African version of them in the club. I really, tell me what's the gimmick, because he just seems like he goes to the dance clubs that Caden and Katana go to. I don't know.
I'm still waiting for Ashton Smith to show up, so I don't.
Great point.
Oh, poor fucker. And then we get Drew Gulak versus Andre Chase. Of course, like we said earlier, they're not the same person. This was entertaining. And one thing I thought about as well watching this was like, imagine if Chase didn't wrestle in a jumper and trousers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's straight up.
Imagine how much, like, people would take him completely more. I know they would take him more seriously if he had traditional gear, like a singlet. Imagine him like a wrestling singlet in this match.
He's such a good wrestler, but we forget because he has, like I said, massive collar. And think about Chase's offense set off Gulak and made Chase tap out to the Gulak and did not let go for several extra seconds. Dempsey told Gulak he's ready to challenge Walker next week. Not this week, next week. Then we had Kofi beating Joe Gacy. And there's been a lot of questions as well why we've not maybe seen a lot more of Kofi and Woods, and I think Woods is dealing with an injury at this moment in time, which is a bit of a shame, of course, but should be fit for Vengeance Day as well. And speaking of Vengeance Day, Pretty Deadly, yes boy, confronted New Day in the locker room, demanded a title shot, willing to go through a gauntlet to earn another opportunity. I love this as well because Pretty Deadly are the main focus. It's what they're having to do week in, week out. We know what the end result is going to be. So I'm just enjoying, unless they get fucked over, but I'm enjoying this ride. Pretty deadly.
I agree. I love that they're still involved. Like, they're still right there. They're doing whatever they can to try to get their title shot again, because, again, they're not getting treated like some of the other teams who are just kind of taking a shot at the New Day. Pretty Deadly is like, still above the other teams, even if they may be under.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we know, the layers, and they know their position as well, and they're just trying to help. And then we had the Grayson Waller effect with Bron Breakker walked in the segment, playing it cool. I fucking hated Bron in this. It's just like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah,
everything's fine. I'm good.
I got after watching the complete segment, I understood where they were going. They were trying to show that he wasn't getting under his skin, but it kind of ended up being pointless if at the end, you still hit him, and you still try to, you still did your suplex on him and everything. So it's like he got under your skin. So what was the point of us sitting through all that cringy
I know. This is
question and answer game? It was kind of weird. It was definitely executed weird.
And then another thing we're going to get sick of as well. We saw, of course, Bron laying him out with a military press power slam. But the thing we're going to get annoyed with, this is going to become more commonplace now as well. The dive over the rope holding a phone. Logan started
it's a great point.
It's like, how many shit shots are we going to see on social media of, oh, look at this guy over the top. Way to build a legit threat for the next show load. Do you know what I mean? Like, Grayson Waller and Bron. My God, I cannot wait. So anyway, let's get to it, because we got last episode. It is January 10th, New Year's Evil, and we open with a Chase University segment. RJ Chase welcomes his student to where everyone gets a second chance. He says tonight's homework is to watch New Year's Evil. I've done my homework, Mr. Chase. He goes over tonight's matches and dismisses his student for bringing negative energy around Thea Hale, who has the biggest match of her career tonight in a 20-woman battle royal. Hale doubts herself, but Chase believes in her, says she has the heart. Chase, who believes she can do it. They all get hyped out as you go, Thea, Thea, Thea. And again, NXT has done this quite well in the past, where it would be Toxic Attraction or something else, kind of just recapping it in a kind of fun way. And I think Chase Stewart at the moment, it kind of works. We then start with the number one contendership for the NXT North American title, Dijak versus Tony D. Wes Lee joined Book and Vic on commentary. We see Tony D fought hard for himself, but he was too focused on protecting Stacks. You fucking idiot. Dijak handcuffed Lorenzo. First off, how fucking those handcuffs? Jesus Christ. You knew Saint was up when they reach across the ring. Stacks, Dijak handcuffed Lorenzo to keep him out of the action. Stacks told Tony D he would take the shot for him, but the Don told him, no, stay healthy. You're in the fucking match, Tony. What the fucking hell? It set him to walk right into a big boot from Dijak, who picked up the win. I mean, what do you think of this? It'd be different to Tony D. He fancies Stacks. That's what I've taken away from it.
Right.
We're going to get a romance angle. This is where it's going.
Right.
I can't live without you. That's what we're going to have. I'm not saying Brat Mountain, but you know where I'm going with this. I can't quit you. Right. That type, yeah.
Got you. I got you. Okay. Let me get myself together. I'm trying not to laugh. The match itself, I will say, Tony D, I definitely was impressed with him in this match. I don't know. Maybe it's because I haven't watched, Dijak do his thing in a while. But it was a really good match. It's one of those matches. I don't know if this probably wasn't as good as his match with Ciampa, but it's right up there when it comes to notable Tony D matches, because he performed pretty well for the most part. But I will say the end, like you said, was definitely confusing. I get it that that he's that you're trying to show off their bond or make him say that his family or whatever, but I really didn't understand the timing of it. Like you said, if he wanted to get kicked, let him get kicked, or I also don't understand the timing of him even getting in the ring anyway. He was standing outside the ring, handcuffed the whole entire match. You decided to take that shot for him? You didn't want to take the choke slam that he took right before that, or anything else? That's the only thing about it. It's like he comes in now, and they just get that, and of course, conveniently, it's quiet enough, and we can hear loud and clear what him and Stacks were saying. So, yeah, the ending was definitely soured. I think a really good match to me, if you just take what they were doing action-wise. But I don't know where we're going next, because I'm with you. I thought Tony D's, I thought the whole point of him beefing with Dijak was because Dijak was getting in the way of him getting Wes Lee.
Yeah.
And if Wesley is your goal, why the hell does Stacks matter?
Well, Stacks is obviously his one and only. Like, and again, I didn't see the
Right.
episode of Sopranos when Tony decides to start caring for the people like you got to work for him and stuff. Yeah, it must be part 4 of The Godfather or something like this. Like, I don't know how much gangsters do care about the family, you know. But if we do not get a shot of Stacks and Tony D in a restaurant sharing a plate of spaghetti, they are missing the target. All right, hey Tony D, hey man, we'll take you to my favorite restaurant, man. We'll get some spaghetti. Oh look, and then all of a sudden, anyway. I've ruined Dijak for myself with him being Bron's big brother. Anywho, I'm hoping as soon as he starts putting in the work, I know he can. His hand
was rubbing off on Tony.
Fuck it. I hope I will forget, hopefully soon. But, you know, we'll see what happens. We get...
Another thing that hurts me with Dijak is he reminds me of Dominic Dijakovic and T-Bar blended together. It's just too obvious. I know they're the same guy, but it's just like that's what Dijak seemed like. He's just an amalgamation of who he was before. That's kind of feels like so far. Even though I have to give him a little time. Maybe
someone has customized his attire on 2K. That's
it. Take the mask off. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's done. Toxic Traction backstage with Mackenzie Mitchell. They're going about making Roxanne Perez pay for what she did to them and winning tonight's Battle Royal. And they're going to be 2 cage beasts unshackled. Mackenzie asks what happens if the match comes down to both of them. And they say they will be announced as the winners. Now, wait a minute. Whoa, I hope they've not ruined anything that's going to happen later in the show. All right?
It's not a prediction, James.
Jesus. Like,
it's a spoiler.
Wow. That's crazy. And again, after weeks of build, the Creed brothers are ready to fight Indy Sher. And they went, nope. Nope, not going to give you that. Sanga came about Veer. I'm not with Veer. Didn't he know you've had a tag match ready for 2 months?
They never explained what the hell he did, by the way. I have no clue.
Was he on his way to
that's
Raw?
Veer's gimmick. He can... Exactly. That's Veer's gimmick. He can disappear and appear at any time.
Next week on NXT, Veer coming soon. Just gonna come back. But we did see Jinder Mahal, who attacked Judas and Brutus from behind and made clear.
We got a Jinder chant, by the way.
A Jinder, like I said, felt like such a big deal. It's been 5 years.
It really made me wonder. I was like, these Floridians would chant for any WWE superstar ever. The Bushwhackers come out of there, they're gonna lose. They would lose their mind if the Bushwhackers or something.
Luke and Butch, Luke and
Brooklyn Brawler.
Yeah, it's like fuck me.
Abe Knuckleball Schwartz comes out. They're gonna lose their shit.
Well, so I said, I'm sure it will be a good mouthpiece, but I'm pretty sure that we saw this group before. So
yes, I guarantee.
I knew it was the Bollywood Boys, but I knew it was another group because I was making a joke about the Bollywood Boys taking steroids, and I looked it up, and it was Veer, but it was Shanky instead of Sanga, and I thought, who the fuck is Shanky? Because he's assigned to the SmackDown roster. He was the dancing guy, wasn't he? And
yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
6
he
months
was
ago?
messing with Samantha, I think, or something. Yeah, that's about it. I don't know
put an end to that.
Missing.
Yeah, Ricochet was like,
Ricochet was like, no way, buddy.
Hey, hands off.
I must say, him and General Aziz disappeared. I have no clue where the hell those 2 big guys are. Omos disappeared too. Where the hell
there's a room. There's a massive room somewhere, a warehouse in WWE with just these 7-foot guys. Just wait. Yeah, Trips? No, you stay there. I'm taking him today. Right, here we go.
That's my warning to Hiko Leo right now. Watch out, big guy.
Yeah, we got enough. Valentina Feroz questioned Sanga afterwards, but he was standing behind his fanboy. Elektra Lopez told Fred she needs to look out for herself. But I still like the fact she thought the happy Sanga was still there. And maybe one day he'll look at her, wink and go, I'm all right, kid. And then suddenly turn against her. But I don't think anybody else wants it. Pretty Deadly, yes, boy. Backstage talk about how close they are to a title win When NXT champions New Day interrupt, they say the previous match didn't happen. So Pretty Deadly is up now for their gauntlet match. And Kofi and Woods taunt them how their hair isn't ready, but Kit and Elton are happy to head out. So we get the number one contender gauntlet. How many other wrestlers could have rollers in their hair, right, and still be considered like legitimate threats? This is what I love about Pretty Deadly more than anything else. So Pretty Deadly versus 3 mystery opponents. When they come out and they say they don't think they said they're ready, and they've handpicked 3 of the top tag teams for tonight's gauntlet. The music of the rocker hits, and out come the new rockers, Jimmy Jackson and Brian Williams. Yes, Booker tried to sign them for his own company.
They were booked.
They were booked, but they didn't show up. And we see the rockers coming up short to Spilt Milk as the first team
I
is
love
eliminated.
the shock after they couldn't get out. Booker T is like, "What happened?" So like, what? Like, he couldn't believe it. Oh my
They
goodness!
definitely did their job there. And the second team was about to come out, music interrupted, and we got Kofi and Woods. They knew this was happen and not let Pretty Deadly start. The 2 actual top teams picked out for the gauntlet, and the outcome, Idris Enofi and Malik Blade. And after a good, 5-7 minutes of action, Pretty Deadly stole a win over Idris Enofi and Malik Blade. Briggs and Jensen were meant to be next, but were laid out backstage, and we see Pretty Deadly laughing in the ring until we hear the music of Gallus. Yeah. As they come out, Wolfgang, Mark Hoppy, fans pop, and Vic says the suspension's been lifted, luckily, because otherwise that would be poor timing. And Gallus stormed out, defeated Pretty Deadly with ease after hitting their finisher. Man, I fucking loved this. The Pretty Deadly are the stars. We get the Gallus return. The tag team division's not looking too bad now. Sign me up, man.
Yeah, man. It's already a little bit deeper, and like you said, it was a great moment. It was awesome. Like you said, Pretty Deadly was the focus here. And then you had not only after the match, I love Gallus, immediately after pretty much making short work of Pretty Deadly, going right to the New Day and, kind of doing the whole stare down thing. So I just love that because it's like, okay, so we're getting right to it. Gallus is definitely probably next in line, and or could be next in line. We'll see. But it was still awesome to see them back. Like I told you this plenty of times before how much Gallus, the Gallus boys grew on me, and you can kind of see absence in NXT kind of makes the pops better, right? Because when they originally debuted, they were almost hated on sight.
They were like, huh?
Yeah. But then when they returned, they were definitely happy to see Gallus. So who knows what's going to happen, but I love the Gallus boys being back because like we mentioned, the New Day basically only had two, 3 teams to fight. in 10. They were going to have to go double back to Pretty Deadly eventually. So, they couldn't even fill out this gauntlet match with an actual team. They had to source out, some talent. So, I love seeing Gallus back in this division.
Yeah, no, really, really fun stuff. Backstage, Ivan Isle still not getting on with Judas Creed, who says he doesn't care if Jinder Mahal's a former champion. He doesn't care if he's back. He just wants a match. And Ivy's saying, look, enough of your shit. I've got a match to get ready for anyway.
Right, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I'm tired of telling you to leave him alone.
Come on. Where's Tatum? I've not seen her for a couple of weeks. She's been released. I just want to get on with it. Carmelo Hayes sitting in a diner with a cup of coffee, writing in his pad as he hit his full. I love that Hayes, right? How tough he is. Today, I want to be the best. I'm going to be the champion. I had with Trick, and then we went and played on the swings. Like, it's just, but he's talking about being a past, present, and future NXT. He is beyond reach. He proved himself against Cruz. Hayes says the NXT title has his name written on it, not Apollo. And Trick says they speak it into existence, and Hay agrees, and they toast the coffee to end this thing. But again, this is another reason why Trick and Melo work so well, because it's only like a 2-minute or minute segment with them in a diner, or we've seen it, and their back and forth kind of makes it work, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, man. It just kind of, like I said, are always allowed to just play off each other, and they get their points across, and it's always usually something, at least a little bit memorable. And like again, like Trick pointing out what we pointed out earlier about how the hell Axiom can see anything. So yeah, it's always one or two lines where I'm like, oh yeah, just love it. You're always, like I said, I'm always looking forward to Melo and Trick. Always.
Yeah. Well, we go back to the ring, and the music hits as we get a countdown to the start of the new year. Only 10 days late, but here it comes as we get more music. And Tiffany,
I was so confused.
Yeah, there was like, what? Tiffany Stratton made her return. Was she away? Like, surely someone should tell me.
I mean, I noticed she wasn't here, but not like anyone else who we mentioned earlier who disappeared. Like, yeah. Mako, we need a bolo. We need to see somebody to look for Mako. Mako and Blair have been gone forever.
That is true. She said she's learned
so. She said 5 months. I was like, it's been 5 months.
That can't be right. She said she. But then again, if she's been away 5 months and she's learnt the business in the first 9 months, is that only 4?
That's a good point. The math is all.
Yeah, so anyway, she says 2023 is going to be her year, and everybody else is sweaty. Great. And then we get a video package for NXT's title match. Back for the break, we see Katana Chance, Kane and Cut walk through the parking lot. Cameraman congratulates them on a record-breaking title reign, because that's how you recognise that, by having a cameraman sneak up with you on a car park. All right. And then we see Tiffany Stratton. She walks by into a waiting car, and we move on to the NXT title. Grayson Waller versus Bron Breakker. If anybody thought, why is this match on now? We would soon fucking know. Grayson Waller had a game plan for Bron Breakker and knew when to strike. He matched him move for move. Waller sent Breakker hard into the middle turnbuckle, ripping it clean off. Officials had to come in to fix it quickly. Both men traded forearms to the centre ring, with Waller actually winning with a clothesline to the back of the head. Breakker hit a bulldog set up the finisher, but Waller ducked outside, run in, and turned his cutter into a running knee for a big near fall. However, as Waller went on the second rope, it broke. He fell out the ring, and the referee just counted him. He didn't check.
Right.
Was just like, no, fuck you. And counted him out. So this is why it was halfway through the show. Why did the ref count rather than checking on Waller? We just don't know.
Never seen that before in my life. He didn't even go, like you said, go down and just check him and ask. Like, could you at least ask if he's conscious? Ref? No,
fucking.
Okay, you just gonna count 1, 2, 3. Nothing like. Also, it's like Waller didn't jump out of the ring or anything. He fell because the ring itself started to malfunction, and the ref didn't try to fix the turnbuckle. He didn't do anything. But just like, oh, let's count. Nothing weird happened here, guys. He should be in this ring right now.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
No.
Like, and again, another bad finish. Arguably Grayson's biggest match, and I think he did well. With Bron, I'm looking at him and thinking, I don't know, like I said, I think it's with the performers he's in the ring with. But with Grayson, he showed a little something. But yeah, after that finish, you're just going, for fuck's sake. Like, come on.
I think like, you can already kind of see in Breakker's reign, when it's a guy who's more longer tenured than him, someone that he has a little bit more respect for, he seems to kind of step up to the plate. He plays up. He steps up to their level a lot better than he does going either. I'm not gonna say down, because I don't necessarily know how much better than Grayson Waller that he actually is, but than a peer. He may wrestle a little bit differently against the Zigglers, the Tyler Bates, the Dragunov. He wrestled different with those guys, those more experienced guys with a track record, than he may wrestle with someone who's also trying to, set blaze a trail for themselves. So maybe that's the difference. But definitely, I agree. I think Waller really performed well in this match, and looked like he would really, give Bron a run for his money. But I thought the odd placement of this match really gave away that something weird was going on to me, because the fact that it was before the Battle Royal really confused me, and I was like, "Yo, I know they're calling it New Year's Eve, but let's just be honest. This is just NXT now. If you're gonna do it like this, this is just a regular NXT show. If you're
That's what I
gonna do
didn't
that,
understand. Or even have
it's like, okay,
have this in the main
no,
event and then have Michaels
right,
come out afterwards and go, well, I'm not going to have it end like this. Still cage match at
right,
Vengeance Day, or
because they still double back and end up ending the show with them. So like, why not? It's weird, really, really weird. And also, like you said, kind of gave away that something janky or whatever might probably happen. As a matter of fact, with that placement, I was thinking maybe we will have a time where Grayson Waller actually walks away with the belt in a screwy way, kind of like Jericho. And then we get it ran back again at the end of the show because of the placement. That's the only thing that made me think of that. But no, it didn't go that way. But it was still something weird, like I said, you would expect when you see an NXT title match leading off the second hour.
Yeah, and if Grayson having another chance, like I said, in a 3 weeks' time or wherever Vengeance Day is, will be interesting now to think, maybe they might make the switch. But like I said, we'll see what happens. Yeah, because again, no pinfall or something like this, like I said, screwy way, or even Grayson.
Now it makes you wonder. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, like I said, it does make you wonder. And in fact, all Grayson needs is like like we just talked about, there's a warehouse full of 7-footers. Grab one of them and have him as, his guy, and then there you go.
Right. And I'm thinking now, like, if you do that, you go that route, you still can get a big match that Stand and Deliver with, like, Waller, Breaker, and Mello, maybe. In a 3-way of some sort, possibly. Even if I still would have preferred us to get like a 1-on-1 type of main event for Stand and Deliver. So it's interesting to see. Like you said, it's interesting to think about what could play out now.
Yeah, well,
when you have this going on.
Yeah, and especially with Stand and Deliver, like I said, with Mello, hopefully there, 3 months away. It's going to take time, like I said, to see kind of how it builds up there. They asked Roxanne Perez who she's rooting for, and she says Cora Jade. Mackenzie goes, what? And she went, nah, I'm just fucking with you. Hey. You also see Apollo Crews backstage watching this segment with Hayes and Trick. Why? Did he enjoy it so much he watched it on his tablet later? Or was it the fact the Wi-Fi was down? Axiom walks in and thanks Crews for saving him and proposes a tag team. And Axiom's all in, and Crews says, let's go make some phone calls. What phone calls? Like the Tag Team Association? Like, is that you have to register? I don't know. Then we get
Sean.
Yeah,
Sean's here, by the way, guys.
Maybe call him off going out the locker room. Just go, Sean, we're a team. Okay, there you go. We called him. We then get Charlie Dempsey versus Hank Walker, and Dempsey found himself challenged by Hank more than ever before. But he could not compete with the technical prowess of Dempsey. He stretched out Walker with an STF, with an extra bend to force a submission. Gulak looked impressed with Dempsey, which could be a bad sign for Walker. But good old Hank. I like both of these guys for very different reasons.
Oh, goodness. So why you like Hank?
Hank, there's just something about him. Yeah, the old, like you said, I'm a sucker for it. He's just a guy, security guard. We don't know anything about him. But let's just get behind Hank. Good old Hank. and
Hank is what I call a jag.
It's just
a guy.
Yeah, it could be me, and he's just in a position, trying his best. Right. With Dempsey, he should have the world at his feet. Depending on what happened. I'm already dream booking Regal helping his son win a championship and being his manager. I know it's not going to be for a couple of years, but again, just think of the development we can have with Dempsey. And Hank, who knows? I like Hank.
Who knows? I will say that you never know. I'm glad you didn't say, man, I can imagine Hank dethroning Gunther. I'm like, no, calm down. Okay, calm down.
No, Roman. That's it.
Roman, no.
WrestleMania 40. Hank, Roman, money.
Reigns versus Hank. Who would have ever thought? Oh my goodness. But yeah, like you said, you know how I feel about Charles Dempsey. I 100% agree with you. The future is obviously he is for the taking. But I'm also looking forward to whatever they have cooking up with him and Gulak, because a lot of Gulak's action and his words are not really adding up to me, because him and Charlie Dempsey in common, whether they want to admit it or not. So maybe they fight, but I think we may end up with a nice tandem. I don't know if it'd be a tag team or maybe at the beginning of a new faction of guys who just like roughing up. You know who'd be another great person who used to be in NXT? Tim Thatcher. Man, it'd be great. It's like you have Thatcher, Gulak, and Dempsey together. Oh my God, what a rough faction. Just beating the hell out of people. Just throw Oney Lorcan in for shits and giggles too.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah. God,
but anyway,
we have been through a lot, haven't we? When you consider,
yeah, we've seen a lot, right?
Birch and Lorcan, fucking Thatcher, with a fight pit and everything involved. Like you said, it's that ilk, isn't it? Of the kind of guy that can stretch out.
Like they were, yeah, exactly. Hurt you, man. Right, I love it.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. Alba Fire approaches Soa Ruka backstage. He's thinking out never got a singles match. Ruka agrees, but Fire doesn't owe her anything. Fire gets annoyed, but she's got a lot going on. Like,
you want the match or not, girl?
Do you fucking want it or not? Like, all right. Like, sorry, I've just got a lot of shit going on. We do get.
Right, I got the damn witch chasing me around.
Exactly. Like, did you not watch last week? Like, yeah. Good news, though.
Right.
Good news, because we're going to get the return of Tyler Bate. Yes, Bate said he's coming back for new challenges.
Finally.
Finishing some old business, and he's not going anywhere. He hopes. So Bate is back, baby. Again, Tyler Bate for me, if he's not going to be featured as a main event talent, then have him North American title, build him up like that. Wesley versus Bate. Yeah. Or Bate versus Dijak, because you know how good Bate works with bigger guys as well.
Mm-hmm. That'll be great too. I can't wait to see whatever he does next. I'm sure it'll be, a great stuff, because like I said, I really think highly of Tyler Bate. I think everyone should, if you know anything about him. So I'm just looking forward to whatever they have to do. Maybe he probably seems like maybe initially he'll probably end up running right back into JD. Yeah. It's just maybe what I'm thinking. I'm assuming he'll run right back into JD for the most, initially. But we'll see what happens going forward. They're slowly but surely, James, opening that door to the abyss where Mako and Blair and it's just the NXT UK. Noam Dar's back there somewhere. That's a lot of people. They're slowly but surely opening that door. Not the big man door. They got them in different places. The warehouse, the big man warehouse is next door to
big
the
man
NXT
next to it
UK.
with the dust getting trophy gathering dust. Oh, poor Dar.
They let Gallus and Bate out, so we'll see.
They did. Let's hope. We see the NXT Anonymous Twitter account, who recently filmed footage of Chance and Carter in a trainer's room. Not what you think.
Not creepy at all.
No. And we hear a voice of a mystery man. See, we don't see him. He has eyes and ears everywhere. His latest video shows Scripps leaving a message.
Is Scripps a stalker?
Mensa. Is it Scripps doing it? Is it someone else doing
I was
it
confused.
on Scripps?
Like, is he the stalker? I don't. Another stalker.
Because Scripps is going, how dare you film me give weird notes to another man? I want some privacy. Thank you very much.
I just love how writing seems to be a big part of whatever he's gonna do, and I think I just want to know who thinks a guy who's just gonna be writing to people. Whatever, we'll just move on.
Jinder Mahal, former WWE champion, as we got told countless times, versus Julius Creed, and Creed looked unstoppable in this match actually. But Sanga found the perfect moment to distract him. Julius missed a shooting star press, and I got to say, to land the way he did with a shooting star and then roll through as well, fair play. He didn't break your fucking ankles, but he walked into a big boot, followed by a collapse, which gave Mahal a 3 count. And I tell you something that's weird as well. And I don't know about you, but like we're watching a bit of history now, because the next time Julius and Jinder after this feud, whether it will be like a year's time or whether it is, Julius will start going up and Jinder will stay where he is. So this is the kind of last time that Jinder will be a bigger star than Julius, if the development happens. You know,
right. Like, if things go as planned, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
I can't. It's like Ken Shamrock beating The Rock. You know, that happened for a year,
Right.
and then people realise they were like, "Hang on a minute." But Judas is getting better.
Or like Billy Gunn in The Rock too. in
Yeah.
that feud. Billy Gunn was at his heights, but he was not going any further than that. By himself anyway.
But like we said, Julius is getting better every week. Brooks and Jensen say it was Gallus that attacked him. Good. We get a vignette. Mate, out of everybody, I'm going to sound in English now as well, but of everybody from NXT UK to come...
Open the door again.
Fucking Stevie Turner. What the fuck did Stevie Turner do? Why did Nina Samuels not get called? Like, why? And what gimmick is this now? She's a streamer? Like,
yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah, she's a streamer now. You're right. We're streaming the life of Stevie. That sounds very interesting. And I thought you would at least appreciate that it's no more 4D BS.
No, don't get me wrong.
She's just 2 steps ahead of you and 2 steps, whatever. I was like, oh Lord, please don't say 4. Please don't say 4 after she said 2 steps. I was like, please, but she left it alone. She just said a little catchphrase and moved on. I'm like, all right, okay, whatever. Let's just look at it like a fresh slate.
Yeah.
When it comes to Stevie, I'll try. We'll try. Let's just try it. Let's give her a chance.
Yeah, no. But
I'm with you though. I'm with you. Of all the people, I still follow the French Hogan. She's been doing great, doing whatever she's doing. But you mean tell me someone like anyway? It's fine. We'll see.
Yeah,
and hopefully this means we'll see Blair again somewhere.
Yeah. In about
maybe
2 months. Like I said, we'll see what happens. Stevie's here, which is great. Not part of the 20-woman number one contendership battle royal, which was the main event. We had Gigi Jolin, JC Jane, Ivory Nile, Tatum Paxley, So Ruka, Cora Jade, Zoe Stark, Nikita Lyons, Perverts, Fallon Henley, Kiana James, Electra Lopez, Wendy Chun, Ivory Nile, Thea Hale, Laya Valkyrie, Valentina Perez, Lash Lennon, and Maria Mella, Alba Fire, and Danny Palmer. Valkyrie quickly eliminated Jade in a shocking result. Jade went so early. But... Again, the only thing I didn't like about this, how many eliminations did we see? And then the person eliminating him stuck over that rope for just too long. You know, going,
talking,
got you eliminated.
Bragging. And I'm just like, Indy did it at some point. Yep. Yeah, Lyra did it initially. It's just like, no, turn around. Be aware.
You're in the Battle Royal.
Come on.
We had Ruka nearly got eliminated, but walked on her hands back to the ring. We saw Wendy Chu landing on a pillow, but getting her feet stripped out of her as well. Lopez pulling it away. There was a couple of fun moments like that. The final 4 was Alba Fire, Laya Valkyrie, Gigi Jolin, and JC Jane. The Toxic Attraction pair got some help from returning Cora Jade to stand as the final 2. And as they
that was the 3rd time, by the way.
I know she was a time tie record. Time tie for fucking Rumble 2000. That's one for the kids. Go back and see how many times they got eliminated. He landed on his face.
It's a drinking game, by the way. Great drinking game.
Yeah.
If you're not a kid.
No, go back. Go back and do it. But yes, as they hit each other at the same time, they landed. Some really fun moments, but the finish let it down as referees. The funny Vic said, there's 3 referees that side, 1 this side. Why isn't there not 2 and 2 then? Why would they have an advantage of 3 and 1?
Right. It's like they knew they would probably foul on that side. It's just maybe I'm missing.
No, I don't know. And it's a bit of a weird positioning.
No.
Then they looked at the camera and they said, "Yep, you both win, like you predicted an hour and a half ago."
It wasn't a prediction. It was a spoiler.
Well, I mean, what do you think? It was just fun enough, apart from the end, which probably says a lot about the show tonight.
You know, at first I was really okay, that's fine, I guess. I kind of saw the draw coming, but I did initially like them at least fighting, to the end, because I liked that realization. Like they were just standing there like, oh yeah, we win. And they didn't hear a bell ring and it was like, oh, we're going to have to fight. I was like, well, duh. I knew that when you guys said it initially. backstage. They're not gonna just ring the bell because y'all won. Y'all be the last two in there. But anyway,
it didn't take them to turn on each other either. Like, I would hope you and
it
I
didn't take much.
spend another couple of seconds before you kicked
all of that
me.
toxic attraction talk, and she kicked her so fast. It was not dramatic, but I must say that the thing that made me come around on all of this was the fact that it was one little thing at the end there. If you look close, after they kind of went through all that, JC and Gigi, on the surface, it kind of looked like they were on the same page when Roxy came out there. But you can kind of see JC giving her that, a side eye, where it's like, maybe you need to watch JC again. And I'm thinking, like, at least the biggest positive about this is that even if they try to pretend that going forward is going to be 2-on-1 through most of the match, we know how these triple threats work. They're going to have to deal with each other if one of them want to become champion. We know that part.
Yeah.
But I do love the fact that now they can stop trying to skirt around this toxic attraction. They were still calling it a stable, even though it's two of them. Now, so I think what makes me the most happy is that maybe this is a great catalyst to split them up and give them identities of themselves. Maybe this triple threat can be the start of splitting toxic attraction up as a team.
Right, but you can see the problem with WWE with tag teams when they go, "What do you call when two people are together? What do you call that?" It's like, I don't know. It's like tag team. Oh, that's what we're missing. Like,
right. Like I couldn't believe they still said toxic attraction to stable. I was like, no, you're not a stable anymore.
I honestly had like a minor breakdown towards the end of the world this match. Right, stick with me because it's going to sound mental.
Okay, here we go.
But I'm looking at Lyra Valkyrie, right, and I'm going, do you know what she reminds me of a little bit? A bit Tay Conte, right? Just a little bit of the kind of figure, a little bit of the face as well.
Okay.
Obviously, very pretty. Gigi Dolan with Paige as well, and I'm thinking, oh, I kind of like
definitely.
Paige.
Back in the day, she definitely used to get told that a lot when she was way more gothier. You know what I mean?
I'm going to piss so many people off now, but JC James, the NXT Britt Baker.
I can see it. Yeah. I see it.
Yeah. Right? And Alba Fire, I was going, fuck it, Ruby Soho. Like, that kind of that's been around. And I was like, yeah, NXT's probably got as good as women's division as AEW. I know it's going to start loads of trouble. But again, it was weird to think, like, that's why WWE, they've got picks so much in NXT. Like, so we've seen 20 women here. Women from NXT UK, and it's like, we see the amount of women on the SmackDown roster and the Raw roster. There is enough talent to go around. Like I said, even Louis 4 women now, and especially with Lyra, hopefully she can build on this momentum with Alba as well. And like I said, with Toxic, if the goal is for them to turn on each other, fine. But then again, would it hurt for actually have a fully formed tag team make that move to the main roster?
And that's a great point too. That you're right. This triple threat could not be the end. It could be a great catalyst for them to go on to the next step as a team together. Because like you're right, the tag division is definitely suffering when it comes to legit tag teams who can fill out the division, who can actually challenge Dakota and EO. So, but again, with the way those titles have been booked historically, history means that we'll probably get more likely a random team to take out EO. Dakota. I would not mind it though. I love your idea. I think both ways. That's the point though. That's the reason why I didn't have a problem with it, because I'm like, okay, at least I see where you're going here. They're going for the revenge angle, but obviously jealousy for who wants it more as a champion is going to play a factor. Will this be the end of them because of that? Or will this just make them stronger down the line? So I love it, though. I wouldn't mind either way.
Without a doubt, we see Roxanne Perez come down and raise the title ringside as we confirmed a triple threat match for Vengeance Day. And if that wasn't enough, we see Shawn Michaels, who's looking his age a little bit now, if I don't mind saying, sitting at a table. And the chair's creaking as well, really got my nerves. But the top and bottom of it was a steel cage match announced for Vengeance Day. So like that. Got two major matches for Vengeance Day as New Year's Evil went off the air. And like I said, that will be our next update, will be the weekend of Vengeance Day, and then we'll bring a review just a couple of days later. But Monty, what were your thoughts? Your thoughts on not only New Year's Evil, but NXT this past month? Because I ask you all the time.
Yeah, New Year's Eve. I didn't have a problem with the show. It was solid enough. But when I look at it through where it deserves, as just another episode of NXT, I think it's great. Now, if you try to look at it and try to compare it to takeovers or other shows that they've had with themes, then it's probably not the best one. Especially when you think about what we actually got settled here in this show. But they did do a great job of building. I thought it was a great building block for Vengeance Day. So for that, I thought that was great. And then as far as the state of what NXT is right now, I think they're obviously getting ready for a transitional phase when it comes to fleshing out a lot of these divisions. They're still adding people. Some people are still going away. Seems like this version of NXT is going to be way more of a revolving door. Or, maybe it's, now that I think about it, NXT always kind of had that element to it, but it seems like they lean into it way more now, to where some people, like you said, you've seen them consistently for a few months. You may not see them for a while, and it may not always be explained. Maybe injury, maybe they're doing something else. We may have veterans coming down and taking up spots. So it's a lot of moving parts, but I do think for the most part, we get pretty good to entertaining television on a weekly basis, even though they still have their faults. They still have certain parts of the show where I'm like, that was a little, that was probably bad. But I do think it was way more good than bad. So I think, we'll just have to wait it out and see what they continue to do, see how some of these storylines continue to play out. But they have potential to have a pretty special roster. Like you mentioned, I thought the women's division, we talked about the women's division when Mandy Rose was on top, and how it just didn't seem as deep, but they seem to be fleshing it out a lot more. Seem to have multiple feuds, multiple possible future teams, and possible alliances or beefs. So I do love that as far as the women's division go. And I think like Waller and Breaker's feud, I like what they've been doing for the most part, and I think the cage match should play out pretty fine. We have a fresh new women's champion, so I'm excited to see where we go with that. And then, like we said, we're both on this train. I'm assuming you're on it with me. Let's get Melo to the Stand and Deliver main event. So I'm really looking forward to what they do over the next few months, because usually this little quarter of NXT tends to be, historically speaking, some of the strongest shows NXT put out. So I can't wait to see how they build towards Vengeance Day and Stand and Deliver.
Yeah. And I think the thing as well that I enjoy the most about NXT Update is that you can have a laugh. There's so many, like with AEW and WWE, so many people, that take offense so easily. And it's like, we've been battering NXT for years, and no one bats an eyelid. They're just like, but like you said, we have to have a laugh because of the way it is. But like I said, the way it's shaping up, as we know,
enjoy wrestling, man. It don't matter which one, enjoy it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We even talking about New Day and Pretty Deadly, which hopefully we'll have at Vengeance Day as well. Or even if they want to, the way New Day at the moment, and with Woods' injury, even if they kept the titles to Stand and Deliver and had that match then,
right,
I probably wouldn't mind it. So like I said, it'd be interesting to see what happens this next kind of month on NXT. But I think that is it. Don't forget, we're across all social media. Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR JR. You can find the entire WNR team on the Twitter banner. Monty, where can people find you?
Like you said, on Twitter at MindMontyPod, or you can go and click that. When you go to Twitter, you can click that link in my bio, and you can check out the podcast. You can check out YouTube channel where we upload clips. I have over 100 subscribers, so I'm slowly but surely building some activity on that channel. So please, continue to share, subscribe, like, do the things you do. And let's see, it's a lot of news, a lot of stuff going on when it comes to the boardroom, when it comes to WWE. A lot of exciting stuff happening in AEW. So we'll have to gauge exactly what the next podcast will be about, but it definitely will be coming to you soon. Just keep eyes on my Twitter and check it out when it releases.
Yeah. And anybody worried about next time Monty will be on the show, it will be for the Rumble review and then it will be NXT update and Vengeance Day again. That's how quickly it all comes around. So don't worry about that. The WNR also on Facebook and Instagram, across all good platforms. Send us an email, the WNRpodcast@gmail.com, and YouTube. Latest clips and podcasts got the same time on YouTube. Do SoundCloud on your phone, also Spotify and iTunes. But you can download, subscribe, rate and review there. That is it. Next episode is Impact Hard to Kill. And Monty, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm actually looking forward to reviewing this. You know, like,
I heard good thing.
I've put hard work into it. We're going to do the talk about Chris Bay and Ace Austin in the junior tag division as well, or the junior tag league as it was, and lots of other. So that should be a lot of fun. But until then, I'll be James Rowlands, and I was joined by the mind of Monty again. I hope you've enjoyed yourself today, Monty. It's always a laugh having you on board for NXT.
Oh yeah, definitely. Always fun. I love to laugh at my pain. So even when NXT is at its most painful, just remember I'm laughing somewhere, or it's been plenty of times, especially during 2.0, where I was probably tearing up with laughter. At how bad how painful some of this has gotten. But like I said, I love doing these. The show is only getting better, I hope. But like you said, we never know. The entire next thing we come back next pod, they're like NXT is done. They're just done. Yeah. Never doing it again.
I will say,
like, what the hell happened?
Usually when we do an update, there will be a massive NXT news story breaking in the next couple of days.
Something big will happen.
Huge. Exactly. Will happen without a shadow of a doubt. But like I said, thank you for joining me, Monty. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And bye.